Hello crafty friends, this is Louise Heinzel. Welcome back to another little tutorial here for my Inspiration Keeper journal. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, stop this video here, go back to the playlist to the first video where I'm explaining you what's behind this journal. So today, it's all about what can I do when I don't have stamps, but I want to have little something like a botanical stamp looking thing in my journal. So perhaps you know some flowers like this. So this is no stamp as well. So this is from a little, don't know from what, because I got it in one of my last Happy Mails. So, but you know those flowers here. I can't show you a stamp from that because I don't have one, and that's my problem. So not really a problem because I have a solution, but so because of that I can't show you the stamp that I mean, but you know this little botanical looking things that you can stamp to your page. What can we do if we don't have that? And when we want to have a little cool, interesting and nice looking thing on our journal page. So I came up with the idea to take this half page here with this little Bible page in the background so that this shines a little bit through here. I have a little stripe here where I now want to glue a piece of a book page to this page here, so that I have a little bit more interest, and I have something black here. That was the reason why I've chosen this page here, to have this little black stuff there, because I want to imitate the stamping with a black pen as well. So that I thought it could be helpful to have a little bit black on the other side. It's not necessary, of course. You can also do it without, but in this journal I want to fit everything together. So I want to have a really nice harmonic thing, so that I try to get everything in a context, and especially into color context. Oopsala. Because of that, as you perhaps know when you saw the other videos, I've chosen a color palette as well. So I can't show you because my journal is clipped together there. I can't open that because then I can't bring it back in this short time. I have this greeny little brownie like the pages color palette, and because of that I would like to have a little color spot in my background. For that I thought, why not using a little bit of gesso? And I have to say, this background thing that I'm showing you here, I never did that. So I don't know what will happen here. I take this only a little bit here, so let me just show you. That's only a little bit, because I don't want to cover up this whole stuff here. Hopefully it's not too much. Then I take brown brush colors, bring them to this little worm of gesso here. I take green, and this is the leaf green. The other one was light brown, if you have the same brush colors. And now the running gag with my coffee machine is coming again. Sorry about this noise. Because I always have to drink a coffee before I can record a video, and then when I'm recording, my coffee machine is thinking, okay, enough coffee, I will save a little bit electricity. And because of that she makes this noise. Now I take this old credit card, so don't worry about this. Here this is only dried acrylic paint, so nothing will happen. And now I will just do it like this and bring this a little bit around. perhaps a little bit to this page as well, because we want to get, so that's my personal goal, to get a little bit more loose in my journals and do it a little bit more like this really pros do. So pro for me. Yeah, okay, I think I need a little bit more white, but I'm not sure until now. But I think this is nice as it is. Yes. Let me just dry that and let me look how that comes out when it's dry. I'm back in a second. I think I'm really happy with that. So that worked really well with this white gesso and the brushes, because the brushes normally are really bright and intensive colors, and it's not so easy to get them a little bit muted, but they have such nice tones and such a nice color palette that you can use them for nearly everything. And you saw I used only a little bit, and they are so everlasting, I think, because these containers are here are full with these little crystals of the brushes, and that's really amazing, because when you imagine the price of that, I think that's not so much. I think when you think about how long this lasts, then it's really affordable. And when I look at this and this, I'm really happy that this turned out in the same color. So yeah, it's a little bit something of a feeling which colors you have to mix, especially when you use this brusho colors, because as you can see, the single colors are made out of different color crystals. So in this leaf green, there is also a bit of yellow, darker green, and this lighter green. So I made these little things here to put them to my containers, that I can find the colors easier, and that I know which colors are included here. If you use brushes, perhaps you do it the same, or some people put this little ring here on top. I like it like this. Yeah, you can choose how you want to do that, but then you can see from which colors the original color is mixed. So yeah. Okay, now let's start with our stamping. So I thought, when you don't have such a stamp, why not using a reference picture like this? So perhaps you have something like this, or you have something from Pinterest or wherever, or even if you have such a stamp and you would like to try this technique, then of course you can stamp it somewhere and use it as a reference photo. So yeah, the thing what I'm doing now is I take a black pen and I try to paint this little botanical thing here to my page. So, whoa, that's all. And for this reference, I look to these little blossoms of this botanical thing, but the stamp here, this lines here, I will not paint in this extremely rounded way, because yeah, I don't like it here. And I think I will only do one of this. So because often you see that that there is only one of those lines and one blossom at the top, and I think this kind of stamp is really famous, and the people love it. I love it too, but I don't have it. So yeah, let's just try it. And I first make a little sketch of this whole thing. So I yeah, try to imitate that here, and I do it with really small brush paint strokes. So I not go the whole way up, but I make it like this so that it looks a little bit more loose and that I can bring the details out later a little bit more easy. So I think that's yeah, the easiest way to do it. And when you have a stamp, I believe it would be not such clear in every place. So you might have things like this here, that you have this little hole there where no stamp ink came to your paper, especially when you have a journal page like this that's a little bit wavy and things like that. Then it can be, yeah, that you have a little something like a problem with your stamp, and why not trying to imitate that as well? I think that can look really nice in the end. Okay, so let's try it like this. And then I can see that here it's a little bit thicker, and the most of this botanical stamps, when you look closer, you see that they have something like this on the bottom of this blossom, or how is that called? So let's try to get that here. So by the way, this is a black pen 0.3 the tip, but of course you can use, I think, any black pen that you have. I wouldn't recommend to use one that's really thin, because then you have to go over this very often, and yeah, so it's easier to take one that has a little bit thicker tip here at the end. And now I just go over this sketched parts here, and I don't do it very exactly. So as I said, if this would be a stamp, it could be that it looks a little bit like this as well, because the ink is not everywhere where you planned it. But I think that's the interesting thing about a stamp. So that it isn't such regular and such clean everywhere. Of course, there are people that do their journaling pages new when that happens, but yeah, I go with the opinion that it can be more interesting when the stamp is not such clear. Okay, upsala. So here I have a little problem with the glue under my paper scrap, but I think I can fix that later. And now I'm adding this little dots here, so I can see the dots. They are directly added to this little lines here, but I will not do that because I like it more when it's like this and the dots are not directly here on top of these lines. But of course, you can do that like you want it. That would be no problem, because yeah, your art, your journal, your decision. Sometimes not so easy to decide, as I think. Okay, and what I also saw when I looked at different kinds of stamps, that they have something like this here on the, yeah, here. Because I don't know, but some brands make something like this, or some little dots where they think that could be interesting, and why not imitating that as well. And yeah, so in my camera that looks not very black. I don't know why. So in reality it's really black. But when you think, and I think that as well, even if I can see it much darker, when you think, okay, that's not black enough for me, of course you can take another black pen, perhaps that's a little bit more intensive or something like that. So I just would try this one here. Yeah. I just found out that the different kinds of black pens work in a different intensity on this paper. So this one here is much more black than the other one. So perhaps you can do something like a little palette for your black pens as well on this page. That wouldn't be a bad idea, to scribble around a little bit, make some lines before you start with this, and then you can see how this pen would react when you put it to your colored page here. Because of this brusho and gesso stuff under it, of course, it can be a little bit of a problem with this black, but yeah, I think there are obviously better pens like this Stabilo Worker, is it called? Yes. But of course you can try your black pens and use the one that works best. Yeah, I think that looks better. Don't know what you can see, but that what I can see looks better than before. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit skinny or something like that. But I think that's only on this one page. But let's try to put one in the background. So perhaps here. Even if I actually wanted only one, I will try another one because I'm not satisfied with this. So if I'm not satisfied, I think this whole stuff is not finished until now. So let's try like we would stamp over it. So in reality, with a normal stamp, perhaps we would take it another time and stamp here. So over the one that we did before. And of course, this blossom here would look a little bit different, but I think that's the good thing. When you try to paint this and you think, okay, I'm able to do that, then of course you can do them all a little bit different. And that's a thing that you can't do with a stamp, of course, because yeah, when you don't have this expensive sets where you have different kinds of the same blossoms, then you can't do it with a stamp because it looks every time the same when you stamp it in the same way. And when you do it like this and you imitate your stamping with drawing it, then of course you can do it like you want it and like it fits to your page, especially that point, because sometimes you have stamps that are too big or too small for the page, and then you have the next problem. With this method, you can make the size to your page that you need. You could even make a little small one, for example here or something like that, what you couldn't do with a normal stamp. I think that's a great idea. And of course, you have to practice that. As you can see, it looks a little bit strange, but yeah, I think mainly that belongs to my light here, but yeah, perhaps I can show you that like this. Another idea can be to add some white dots. So that's another thing that you couldn't do with a stamp, with a normal stamp. So I take this corrector's pen here and just add some white dots, because I also want to take the ideas from the previous videos and the previous pages here in my journal for this one. So when I had these white elements before, why shouldn't I use them here? Because in the end, it should be something that you can use in any journal, in any color scheme, and yeah, wherever you want it. And perhaps it makes sense when I use these white dots here as well, when I used them before, because I would do that in a journal. Yeah, when I take my inspirations from here, I would do that in a journal as well. And I think now it looks like I can be happy with it. Yeah. And of course, when you have such a stamp and you don't want to paint it, or you think, okay, that's strange what Louise is talking about, of course you can stamp it and you can go over it with the white dots here with your pen as well. So even if you stamped it with a stamp, that's of course possible. So you don't need to paint that here, but yeah. I came up with the idea last night and I thought, okay, I have to share that with you. Perhaps it can be interesting, especially for those people who are, for example, beginners, or people that don't want or can spend so much money in craft supplies. And perhaps that can be a good way to make something beautiful without spending so much money or having hundreds of supplies. Even if I'm sometimes a little bit jealous of the people who have supplies, but I want to follow my concept here with this limited palette of supplies. Yeah. Okay, so what about some sewing around? So I think this needs something like a frame or something like that. So let's just take our white sewing thread here and go around. And I just try to not to smear the other white dots with my hand here. Because of that, it looks a little bit strange what I'm doing here, but don't want to dry that and bore you. I'm just thinking about if that is already enough. So shall I go around completely? Okay, we can try to go around on the other page. So as you can see, this is the front page, and this here is the page that is here in the background. So why not doing it perhaps like this? Oh yes, that looks really cool. So don't know if you can see that. Here's my original stitching. So with the sewing machine, I show you that in a second because I think you can't see that. Oh, that's cool. And here I go the other way. So here I was on the left side, so when you look like this, I was on the left side from the original sewing, and here I'm on the right side of this thread. So let me just do it and then I will show you. It's a little bit tricky here because this page has nothing under it. You have to be very careful not to smear that around. Okay. Let's break it there and then do it like this. So this is another page. As you can see, here is the rest of it, and that can be interesting by itself. And here is this page. And when you look at this, you think that's one whole frame, even if it isn't. And that can be, I'm happy with that. That can be, sorry, that can be a really cool trick as well, to use different pages for the same thing. So if you look at this now, I don't know why my camera can't catch that. I will put a photo of this to the end of the video. So if you want to see that in detail, please skip to the end of the video, where you can see the right colors of it. I think that looks more nice in reality. Yeah, so that can be also a trick to make such a frame by using several pages. So this is the first page, and here's the main thing of this drawing. When you look at it like this, it seems to be one page, and then you can make it like this. You have this stripe here, and I think that looks not bad. So if you want to put something here, for example, what about a butterfly or something like that? So let me just grab one. I have some butterflies here on my table at the moment because I'm working on a butterfly journal, and perhaps this can look beautiful as well. And when you make it like this, you can see only a little bit of this, but that's not so good. So if you want to glue it, of course you have to glue it that you can't see it when it's like this, because otherwise the effect would be destroyed, I think. But like this, it can be, I think, a nice thing. And then you can, of course, paint something here as well. So let me just put some glue here to this thing. Glue it here. Oh, not bad. And when you now imagine that you perhaps make some dots here or something like that, then that can be really beautiful. And when you make it like this, you can see that this little edge here of this sewn frame, this fake sewing, is here as well. And of course, you can use this as a new corner here for your page. So I think that's a really cool idea, to use several pages that come after each other. And perhaps now you see the reason as well why I use this black here, and yeah, when you compare that with this black here. So yeah, when I take a photo, I think that makes more sense. I just want to add some of these white things here, because I think then we have a whole thing that fits together. And that's often my trick, and that's something that I want to bring to the world with this video series. Sometimes I add only little elements from this page to this page to bring everything together. For example, those white dots. Why not using this thing here to make some white stuff? And you can also try these different doodling stuff that we did in the last, or one of the last videos, to get an imagination what can look the best. And now when you look at it, and perhaps you see you have this little paint splashes, you can see what would fit to my journal. So of course, perhaps you think, okay, here, this is a little bit too much, but in the journal that you use this as inspiration for, you will use only, for example, these little stripes. You would only use these little crosses, or you would only use this row of dots and not this whole stuff. Of course, you could use the whole stuff, but this is meant to trying out, to experimenting, to look how this can be. So, for example, you can try out here what will happen when you put these white things over your green and the black of this paper bag. You can try out what will happen. How will this correctus pen react? How will another white pen react? What will happen when I put a white flower of these to this page? Or what will happen when I add this flower here to the background later? So I wouldn't recommend that, because black pen on white pen, that would not work such well. But yeah, you can try that out, and that's the reason of this video. And hopefully you are satisfied with this. I will take a photo now to show you that. Stay healthy, stay home, have a very great time at home in these crazy times. And yeah, see you the next time. Bye bye.